Good morning, all. We will begin in just a moment. Thank you all for coming this morning. I hope that you had a good rest yesterday evening and did something fun in the evening. I will say more about the day's activities, but I'm pleased to introduce again to you Mr. Pedro Martin from the State Department.
Good morning, everyone. You survived day one of the Congress. Give yourselves a round of applause. Congratulations. Excellent. So today is day two, and today we will focus on reflection, inspiration, and innovation. We'll have an opportunity to reflect on the conversations that you had yesterday and to hear from you about the challenges and opportunities as leaders, as well as your ideas for how to address both when you return to your countries and your communities. We will honor and recognize the amazing work of our Alumni Impact awardees. They will speak to their experiences on the Professional Fellows Program and the impact of their work within their own communities and beyond. Lastly, we will hear from my colleagues from the Department of State about innovative approaches to engaging audiences to enhance civic activities, media literacy, and combat disinformation. Reflection, inspiration, innovation. Pretty good theme for today and a pretty good model for leadership for tomorrow. Thank you.
Again, welcome back to day two. To provide some further detail on this morning, as Pedro said, today's program will have several special elements. First, we'll have an opportunity to hear from you, or at least representatives of your breakout rooms from yesterday afternoon. These speakers will present the collective wisdom of the room to the full Congress, and we will have an opportunity to hear what you have been discussing, what is on your mind, what most concerns you, what most excites you and motivates you. Second, as Pedro mentioned, we will celebrate 4 of our alumni as examples of how fellows have built upon their professional fellowship experience to achieve their personal and professional goals. And then third, this afternoon there will be an unusual and exciting presentation from the Global Engagement Center of the U.S. Department of State. They are launching an online game this week in conjunction with UNESCO to fight media literacy, fight disinformation and promote media literacy. And you will be among the first to hear about this game. I am especially excited about this session. It will be very interactive and give you an opportunity to try out the game firsthand, and you're among the first to do that. So looking forward to that this afternoon. But as I said, the first thing is we'll have a chance to hear from you this morning. Yesterday, we challenged you in your breakout rooms to compile your experiences and the lessons from the workshops on leadership to present 3 issues in 3 minutes. What is most on your heart? What are the most salient things that you want to highlight? And this is how it will work this morning. In a moment, I will invite the first 7 speakers to sit on the stage. They will each introduce themselves, their country, their host organization, and give their presentation. After those 7 presentations, we'll have a short stretch break. We'll invite the next set to speak on stage. They will also present their information, and you will have heard from representatives of all the groups at that point. Now, I know that you will have so much to share, and it is such a short period of time. We're asking the speakers to stick to about 3 minutes. So the temptation will be to speak much longer than that. So this is what's going to happen. Have you ever watched an awards ceremony on TV, maybe the Academy Awards? You know what happens when someone goes on and on and on, perhaps too long, and they're giving their acceptance speech, and the music comes up, and that is an indication that maybe it's time for them to wrap up. And if they continue to speak louder and louder over the music, then the room gets up and applauds wildly, and that is their chance to be escorted off the stage. Now, certainly everyone will receive a round of applause at the end of their speech, but on the other hand, this will be a gentle way that will remind you to keep to the time and appreciate your sense of humor about it. So let's begin by, I'd like to invite the first 7 people to the stage and invite them to take a seat, and then we will begin the presentations. If you have not already, I'm still missing about 2 speakers, so if you could just make your way to the front of the room, you'll be in the second set. So come on up until we have filled 7 seats.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Miriam Gali from Morocco. I'm teacher of physics and chemistry and PhD student in renewable energy, and I'm civic worker. I work with children to teach them entrepreneurial skills, to give them hope in the future, and to not rely on government employment. So, to not be very long, I will start by expressing my privilege to share with you the experience on behalf of my team comprised of scholars, entrepreneurs, and experts in their respective fields. On behalf of my team, I'd like to share with you all the challenges that we're facing in implementing our projects. We all agreed that the main challenges are, first, financing. Whether it is bringing up new idea or growing an existing one, financing is crucial. Also, we had the problem of assessing our community needs and finding the right connection to open doors for us. But every challenge we face in life is always a lesson that serves our soul growth. For that, we are very grateful for the opportunities that presented themselves to us. And the major one is being part of this this program, and having the chance to network with such highly qualified people. Besides that, the few weeks that we spent in our placement in the US taught us a lot of lessons and best practices in terms of managing our projects, and allowed us to form connection with US businesses organizations, which will open new avenues for both of us to exchange knowledge, expertise, and resources. Now, let's talk about our next set of action. First of all, we opt to go for quality over quantity by reducing the number of activities and focusing on maximizing the impact by being flexible and adapting to our project needs and exploiting our new networks. Also, the art of learning to unlearn. We have all of us different backgrounds and different perspectives, but we should to unlearn, to learn new things and to accept new perspectives about managing our business. On that note, I'd like to thank you all for giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts regarding this life-changing experience. Thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. I'm just gonna set the stopwatch so I don't go over the time. So I'm Julia Arriaga. I'm from Guatemala. I was placed in Tucson, Arizona, in Casalitas Welcome Center. I come with ITD. And I'm going to start sharing with you some of the challenges, opportunities, and next steps that we saw in my group as what we can do with all the things that we have learned during this experience and what we can see in our organizations that need to have next steps. So the first thing we saw was that there is still a lot of sexism, discrimination, or lack of inclusion. We can see it everywhere still, and that was something very important to us. And also, another challenge that we see is that we struggle transferring our purpose to others. We struggle raising awareness of why it is needed, what we're doing. As an opportunity, we see that we can fight discrimination, lack of inclusion, and sexism by creating communities and fostering collaboration. That is something that will bring us together and will help us understand the value of every single one of us. And to be able to transfer our purpose to others, we need to create new relationships. That is part of what we're doing here and we have been doing in these past weeks, and also strengthen the ones that we already had. And in our next steps, the first thing we need to do is just start. Many times we're planning and planning and planning, and we forget that a big part of it is doing. So we need to just start. And one very important key of starting this is by using what we have learned. We need to replicate the learnings that we got in a way that applies to our context. We have seen a lot, we have experienced a lot, we have learned a lot, and now we need to bring it down to our context and replicate it. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Farida Inesta Munjai from Zimbabwe, and my host organization is Michigan State University. I'm presenting for Group 12. So the challenges that we see most leaders facing, the two basic ones that most leaders face, and then one specific for this program. The first one is post-COVID related issues. So post-COVID, the cost of doing business has since increased, and this has been a result of so many things, the disruptions of several value chains. And the second one is access to funding. Young entrepreneurs find it hard to access funding, and if they do access funding, it's quite limited, not covering the whole project or the business at hand. The third one, which is specific to this program, is many leaders find it difficult to deal with different personalities. We were in different groups. My group was a total of 12 individuals. So these are leaders that were handpicked, and imagine leading leaders. That's a difficult task. So some of them felt to reduce their characters that they're used to. Some of them were too delegative and too dominating others, so they were failing to adjust to the new environment to work as a team and as a group. And on the opportunities, we also have post-COVID opportunities that we think leaders and entrepreneurs should take advantage of. So there are so many vast online activities that are now available for entrepreneurs and leaders to use. Government, on the other hand, most governments have moved so many processes from being physical to virtual, which is so convenient for entrepreneurs to use these facilities. And now there is online classes that were used to be all physical. Now you can do it online. So it's an opportunity for entrepreneurs to increase efficiency within their businesses. The second opportunity is partnerships. Here we have over 150 fellows who are into different businesses and projects. So we encourage different leaders and entrepreneurs and fellows to do partnerships with people with projects that are in line with their vision and their goals. On the next steps, we have two major steps. We want to implement all the new skills that we have learned from our stay in the US within our organization for a positive change. That will be the first step that we'll do. The second one, we agreed we need to train and form network groups so that we increase the sphere of impact of the professional fellowship program. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. This is me, Zishan Khan. I'm from Pakistan. Yeah, who was that? Thank you so much. So, I'll be speaking on behalf of Georgia, Albania, South Africa, Tonga, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and incredible India. First of all, thank you so much, United States. Sorry, it was I was set up to this speech. I was not prepared. My group set me up. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah. So first of all, I will be saying thank you so much, the United States government, for giving us this opportunity and giving us the opportunity to sit with these beautiful souls from across the world, these leaders, and this is something very good. Like, it's an amalgamation of souls, stories, adventurous souls, group of unfit people. We love each other. We have a story to tell. We'd like to talk to each other, and we are learning from each other. So thank you so much for doing this. So yeah, I would like to begin with a quotation from an explorer, 18th century. Her name is Isabella Bird, and she said, "Everything suggests a beyond." So, challenges. Talking to my entire group, learning from their experiences, they said the challenge that we face in our countries is systematic corruption. And when there's corruption, there are many issues that comes with it, like misinformation. Misinformation travels very fastly when there's corruption. Attack on credibility. When there's corruption, there's attack on credibility. No matter how hard you try, what good of a project you have, people will have doubts on you that this guy has something wrong with him. He's doing something wrong because they don't want to see you prosper. They don't want to see you doing something good because they're jealous, simple. Access to funding. That is one of the biggest challenges in my country especially. I'm a filmmaker, and when I go and introduce myself as a filmmaker, they treat me as like, oh, he's a fun guy. But when I ask for them, give me some money, hang on a second, money for films? This is fun, this is not a business. So it's a challenge especially for me in my country, and this is a challenge for all the people, like my friend Willie, which I call Bunny. He said that I face this challenge as well. Access to funds is very hard when there's corruption, systematic corruption in the hierarchy, so this is a problem as well. Outdated policies. I have studied law in 2014, and when I was studying law, I was studying a subject which was given to us by Britishers 75 years ago. I'm studying the same law today in my university. We have to change those subjects. We have to change laws because the world is changing. We have a digital world, a connected world. We have metaverse, we have Apple, we have iPhone, we have Google, but we are still dealing with the outdated policies and outdated subjects in our universities and institutions. This is the biggest challenge when it comes to, again, when there's corruption, nobody gives a damn about subjects, our institutions, our literature, so that's also a problem. Yeah, and then when there's corruption, lack of education. When there's no education, there's no future. Opportunities. Now I'll come to opportunities. Education and awareness. I'm a storyteller. So now meeting you people, seeing all of you people together, learning from you people, I'll go back to my country and my friends will go back to their countries. They'll come up with new stories. Correct information. Education, like, for example, America is not as good as it is shown in movies. It's better. It's better. I mean it, it's better. So we have to go back and give education, more stories, more storytelling, correct information. That's the opportunity right now for us to educate people. Again, learning from the best and sharing that best with the people back in my country. So yeah, this is the opportunity. Next step, get back to work. Simply, because I'm here in America, it's my first ever international trip. For the last 1 month, I've been just eating, enjoying, traveling, and that's it. And I haven't posted any video, I haven't done any kind of business. I'll go back, continue my hard work. My friend, again, Bunny, said that I'll get back to work and have direct communication with the policymakers in my country, ensuring stakeholders' engagement with my projects, and surround myself with people who share value and vision. That's the most important, because people don't understand adventurous people. when you have an adventurous soul, when you want to do something, when you want to change the world, then people will have problems with it. And you'll have to explain, communicate, talk, and hard work, and get back to work, get back to hard work. Yeah, that's another thing. At the end of my speech, I'm again a filmmaker guy. I love Hollywood, so I will be giving quotations from Hollywood movies, and that's all I know, because this is what I see in Pakistan as a exposure to America. Yeah. So a line from the TV show called Game of Thrones. Tywin Lannister says, "A lion does not concern himself with the opinion of sheep." Yeah. So be a lion. Be a lion. Change the world. And what man is a man who does not make the world a better place? And subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to the previous speaker. Very powerful words. Now I want to continue on the spirit of his speech. And in my language, I want to say Malo Lele, which is the formal way of greeting you in my mother tongue. My name is Katrina Ma'ofatiaki, and I'm all the way from the Kingdom of Tonga, from the Pacific. Now I stand before you to represent my group. As leaders, we have to also acknowledge the spirit of teamwork. So I want to call the members of our team from Albania, Armenia, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Solomon Islands, and myself from Tonga. If you could all stand up, please. I want to acknowledge the members from my group. So it was really, their sharing and their contribution that I'm able to stand here to be able to share our discussion for you this morning. So I just want to acknowledge that they nominated me, so thank you for the opportunity. Now I want to start off with a quote. It's a quote that I'm inspired with in the work that I do. And it's a quote from a leadership guru from the US, John Maxwell. And he defines leadership as, leadership is about influence, nothing more, nothing less. And when I look at everyone in this room, everyone here is a shaker, is a mover, is a transformer. But most importantly, wherever you're at, you are an influencer. And this is an opportunity for us with the experiences that we've had with the work placements, an opportunity for us to really stop and reflect and be influenced ourselves. And this was a common thread, a strong message that I've learned from my fellows in terms of us just being recharged and refilled. So I'm going to first start off with, of course, the challenges. As advocates, as leaders, we have to acknowledge that it's so important for us just to stop and reflect. And with that reflection, it's an opportunity for us to recharge, refill our cups so that we re-strategize in the way we work. And so this opportunity that we've had here in the US has been an opportunity for, I feel, for all of us who've been able to stop and be reflective. Because we need to always be pouring out from a place that is pure, from a place from the heart. And I know that some of us, I could feel in the discussions that we're all tired, that we're all exhausted. And I feel it's okay. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to be exhausted. You have to acknowledge that. It's all part of the journeys that we take. And so as a leader, we are reminded that this is the opportunities we get as part of the challenge so that we are more repurposed, which is a theme of this conference, in fulfilling also our callings. So with that challenge, as we refill our cup, it's an opportunity for us to really re-strategize. So how are we going to really understand more of the power dynamics in our various countries? There was a lot of discussions about the structures, the processes, and the frustrations of us as we navigate and understand these protocols that we have to go through. And it's important that, in this conference, it's about what are the tools that's going to better equip you so that you are more intentional with what you do and with your time. So that leads then to opportunities. There's another quote that I want to share, and it is from the leadership guru himself again, John Maxwell. He says, "You cannot give what you do not have." And so it's so important that as we stop and reflect, refill our cups, that we become more conscious and we become more aware about ourselves. And so, as a common thread from our group in terms of opportunities, this was a strong message, just being aware about ourselves. You know, you can be the most intelligent person, you can have many titles, but you may not be aware about yourself that you may be very toxic. So, being aware is so important because it gets you to your purpose. And so, with this opportunity, we've all been stretched, we've all been challenged. So, growth happens when you're out of your comfort zone. And so I feel where we've been placed, it has stretched us to get to our purpose. Now, with opportunities, one of the other things that I want to quickly touch on, which was a strong message from the group, is having a teachable spirit, humility, which was emphasized by Carrie. You know, you have to keep learning to keep on growing. And when you have that right attitude, then you're able to tap into the right spaces. And so the cross-learning that we've all experienced from the US is really what has better equipped us for our next step. And so one of the strong messages from our group is scaling up with purpose. So our next step is scaling up with purpose, but our focus is not just the solutions, it's being intentional with your time, your networking, who you engage with. And with that process, be authentic, be yourself, because that's what makes you a real leader. Thank you, everyone.
Hello. Yeah, it's working. Hello, everyone. I'm Sharmin. I'm from Bangladesh. And I'm going to try to say the greetings from the countries that I'm representing. Mexico, hola. Fiji, bula. Armenia, barif. Rwanda, amakuru. Bangladesh, salam alaikum. India, namaste. And Guatemala, hola. Right, okay. I'm from Bangladesh, and I'm Sharmin, and I'm representing our placement host from Oklahoma University. Thank you, Ilani and Kathy, for bringing us all together here today. I'm quickly gonna talk about the challenges and the three pillars that we were supposed to talk about, because I don't want to get the Oscar music. Basically, we think that there's a lack of qualitative presence of women in youth and leadership roles, and we tend to work in silos as entrepreneurs or as business people, as in the management of corporates. We tend to work in silos and not as a holistic team. We are not inclusive in a lot of ways regarding minorities and also regarding people in other departments. So we feel that there's a challenge in not having a perspective that kind of is inclusive of everyone when we are thinking about a project or when we're thinking about reaching our goals. For the program itself, we felt that it was a lack of, I won't say a lack, but the duration of the program could have been a bit more, because it ended a bit too soon, just when we got to build some relationships with other fellows and other placements. We just started packing our bags again. And in some instances, we heard that there was a bit of lack of diversity, especially in the Pacific Islands. So a bit more diversity in selecting the fellows would actually help in getting a bit more dimensional perspectives when we're working together. And then I'll move on to opportunities. For opportunities, we could relate to and access to relatable resources and information. That there's a lot of information around us, especially with so many people, with so many cultures that are being exchanged. So we got to know about a lot of different perspectives, but interestingly, the similarities and the differences were very much relatable and same. The opportunity to directly create pathways for meaningful cross-border partnership and collaborations. Because these people here, we got the opportunity to talk to them directly and find out what they were doing, and just link and partner and collaborate on our particular goals and causes. And it created a consciousness around being more mindful and inclusive about minorities in our back home in our own countries, because we could see how a lot of people here feel that back in their countries, because of taboos, because of stigma, they are not being included in a lot of businesses, in a lot of networks, and ultimately in their lifestyles, their lifestyles are also getting affected. The professional fellowship program created a platform to promote visibility, voice that resonated well back in our home countries as well. Regarding the next steps, we wanted to set ourselves as the Professional Fellows Exchange Program alumni program, where we want to go back and see what the resources are available back in our country. Because, like someone said here, that instead of creating something new, we should capitalize on what we have already earned here and find out what is back in our country that we can capitalize on. And then we wanted to seek out like-minded individuals back in our country who we can add or recommend for the program, so that this community is, we can build this community more with people like us, surrounding with people like us. And we also wanted to do a reciprocal program where we wanted to invite the host, the placement people who has been so gracious to us, so hospitable to us. So we wanted to invite them back in our country and kind of show them what they have showed us here so graciously and with so much humility. We also wanted to focus on capacity building because we have learned so much. No, not the music. all right, I'll stop. I'll just end with, so we are the ambassadors of change, and we are here to minimize the distance between us for those changes to make an impact. And I'll quote my fellow here, that we are lovers and not fighters. So let's do this together, guys. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Rod. I'm from Bangladesh. And can we hear it from the people who went to the University of Oklahoma for their placement? That's where I'm from. And the others who I want to thank, including the participants and the people who actually took care of us for the last month. And I'm going to give them a shout out, but if their nations are here, why not? Gunash from Azerbaijan, Odette from Guatemala, and Tracy from Zimbabwe. So I had the largest group. So thing is, I don't want to bombard you with a lot of details about leadership and everything, because one thing I've learned at the very beginning was you remember roughly 16% of what I'm going to say. So in my 3 minutes of fame, that is roughly 28 seconds. And every second I'm allowed a word, so that's not really much. So when I'm gonna start with the fact that I'm sad and I'm tired. I'm tired of being compared to leaders who are templates, who have become sort of a template, the same examples again and again, that we are supposed to be like them. Every time the words such as, no offense to these people, but every time words such as Steve Jobs come up, I have enough amount of hair to be okay with it. I have not invented Apple. I will not be like him. I will not carry a sink into Twitter. I will not be Elon Musk. I will not be the other leaders that people want me to be. And me and our group, we figured out that this was one of the largest problems, that we are perceived to be, and we are forced to be some sort of and a type of leader. And that is not exactly true, all of you already are. Now, with time, what happens is you start to find your own voice. And that is done with certain challenges that you need to find other leaders who are like you. There are absolute billionaires who we don't even know. Are they not leaders? Are you? There are people in this room who look after teams of 400 or 500 people every single day. Are you not leaders? You already are. So the challenges that we saw is opportunities to actually come into rooms such as this, find other people like us, and have that confidence that, hey, he wakes up late too. He's tired as well. She does work the same way I do. And we're usually so scattered across so many other nations, and coming together sort of gives a confidence that no, whatever you're doing is right. And that is where we think the first step should be. That going forward, we go into more events such as this, to come in the morning, sleepy face, looking down, looking for coffee everywhere, somehow bringing this together and learning about 20 businesses every 5 minutes, and then realizing that you're not the only one in the world and there will be other leaders apart from you. Secondly, going forward, whatever emails that you've gained, sending them newsletters, spamming them, actually taking the time to know these people. I was joking before, not spamming them, but calling them and leveraging the relevant networks that you have. Third, training other people to replace you at one point, because for you to be a leader, you need to learn how to diversify. You will not be in the same industry all your life. There will be other industries and supporting sectors that you'll have to eventually go into. And you need to shed some responsibility out of your shoulders and bring someone up to be there while you are not there. And what you will be doing is reflecting and making yourself a better leader and trying to figure out your own voice. So I wanted to hear your voices before I actually exit the stage, because that is, sometimes we forget what we sound like. So when I'm going to ask you if you are a leader, if you're confident enough, I want you to say yes. All right? In 3, 2, 1. Are you? I didn't even ask the question. I don't know what you're saying yes to. Are you a leader? Yes. Breakfast wasn't strong enough. Are you a leader? Yes. One more time. Are you a leader? Yes. Then what are you waiting for?
That was the perfect note to end on, and I want to say thank you so much to our 7 speakers. We really appreciate your wisdom. So, thank you very much. Thanks so much for speaking. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks so much. We would like to take a short interlude, ask you to stay in your places. I'm very pleased to introduce you to someone that you have probably seen around quite a bit this week. Rita Maximilian Atasi is the program officer for this project and is all things hotel and all things catering and all things. So thank you very much, Rita, for all that you have done this week. She is a multi-talented woman, as you've already heard, but even more so, she is also a qualified yoga instructor, and we have asked her to introduce you all to a very brief yoga routine to get some stretches and get some sillies out this morning. So thank you, Rita.
Thank you. Thank you. Do not worry, we are not going to go into down dog, so don't worry about that. It's not going to be like that. But I just feel that, you've been coming off your 4 or 5 weeks of fellowship. You've been going from place to place. We heard from these great presentations, by the way, how much you have done, how much you have gained, how much you have learned, but have you really taken care of yourself? The last presenter, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, Rod, was said, you guys are tired. We are all tired. That is a 21st century Western, Eastern world global issue. So it's very important that you take care of yourself. So why don't we do that for 5 minutes? There will be some sillies in there too. But first, and I loved how you finished, because that was just great intro for me. You guys already decided you are leaders, right? So why don't we, for a moment, just to take that all in. So close your eyes, take your hands to your bellies. Just sit up straight, feet on the ground. Uncross your legs if you can. And then just take one hand to the belly, other hand on that first hand. And then just start to take breaths. Try to inflate as if there was a balloon in your belly. When you inhale, so your hands will rise. And when you exhale, allow them to come back down. And then just notice what happens. Usually, when we go about our day, we take sharp, shallow breaths. Usually we breathe into the upper part of the lungs, and we're not using that one muscle that was made for breath, which is the diaphragm. A lot of you probably have neck issues, shoulder issues, upper back, lower back issues. A very simple way, every single day, just sit when you need a moment and breathe. Now, when you said yes to Rad's question, you said you were a leader. Just sort of see within you, in your mind's eye, what that means to you. Doesn't have to be esoteric. It could be a person, a role model, yourself, a color, a place, a goal. But as you are allowing the breath to be deep, inhalations long, exhalations long, in this peaceful moment, just visualize yourself. And then to make this a really advanced breath practice, start to turn the corners of your mouth towards your ears. Move the corners of your mouth together towards your ears. If you are smiling, you are advanced. And then open your eyes and just make eye contact with somebody. You don't have to say anything, just make a quick eye contact. And then talking about shoulders and neck, for a moment, just drop your chin to your chest. Feel free to stand up, by the way, if you want to. Feel free to sit it for this one. And then lift up your chin, look up. Come forward, turn your neck towards the one side and then the other. Then go ahead, move the ear towards that first shoulder and then the other. How many of you felt tension in your shoulders and neck? Oh, well, not that many actually, good for you. Well, let's try this. So this is a really good trick. Go ahead and then find your ears. And then from the top, start to massage your ears down towards your earlobes. You're going to do this 3 times. Yes, your ears will be red at the end, but that's okay. By the time you exit, they will no longer be. So do that 3 times. After that 3rd time, pull on your ears. Just pull them out a little bit. Again, 3 times from top to bottom. You can keep the advancement of that smile if you would choose. And then finally, when you're done with that, find a place where your jaws, upper and bottom, meet, and then massage that really seriously, like get in there. Probably it feels tense, probably it feels a little tender. Just go for it. Good. Go both directions. And then now, drop your chin. Now look up. Now turn your head. Turn to the other side. Ear to shoulder. Other ear to other shoulder. Do you feel a difference? When you have your meetings, do this. This is really, your ears have a lot of energy points that help you to relax this whole area. And then talking about this part, go ahead and then you can stand up again. It might be easier at this point. Make sure that you're aware of one another. That's part of your mindfulness. And then roll your shoulders back. Roll them forward. Go ahead, find your wrists. Go both directions. Good job. Take your hands to your shoulders. Roll them back. Roll them forward. If this makes you feel uncomfortable, that's what Katrina said. That's where growth is, isn't it? So the more uncomfortable you are, the better. Good. And then go ahead, shake out. Shake out your hands. Go ahead, start to shake out your legs. Circle your ankles. Anything that feels good. Good. And then go ahead. Try to just find a nice little twisting. So keep your arms, you have a tight space. Just start to move a little bit side to side. You can go slow, fast. It's not going to tell you who you are. I will know when you do that slow or fast, but you don't need to. Good. And then come back to center and just start marching. And then if I had tech people, I need you. Keep marching, you guys. I learned this week, that's not my first rodeo, but I learned this week, something happens, it's okay, there is always solutions. And I'm gonna find it. And then start marching. Maybe start moving. Turn to somebody, face somebody, make yourself uncomfortable. I'm on stage and I'm doing this, so you can do this, okay? And from the bottom of my heart, you guys are amazing. And I wish I had more time to actually talk with all of you, because you have an amazing array of experience and so much gift to give. So thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Oh my, I had no idea how badly I needed that until we did that. I would like to invite our next speakers up to the stage. Please come and take a seat. We're glad to have you.
Good morning. If your actions inspire others to dream more, to do more, and also to become more, then you are a leader. My name is Mercy Chisi from Zambia, a Mount Award-winning agro-entrepreneur. I'm standing here to represent Group 4B. In our group, we had 4 members, 2 from Sri Lanka and 1 from Mexico. Our moderator was Miss Elizabeth from US. Our group had common challenges of lack of funding, scaling up, stigma, equitable opportunities, financial limitations, and also government obligations. Export requirements were also among the things that also a hindrance to what we do in our various countries, business knowledge and also partnerships. We looked at the opportunities, we identified partnerships, research and data, storytelling. If we tell our stories to the world will know about us, and that's an opportunity. And then also PR marketing, exhibition, digital communication, keeping up with change. As you know, the world is changing very fast. Just like the previous speaker said that we are still using the old syllabus in our universities, and things are changing. We have to up the game because everything has changed. We also need to network. This is a great opportunity. We are here from different countries, and it's a great opportunity for us to learn from what others are doing from other countries. The next step, as a group, Group 4, we identified the following as the next step. The pastel analysis. We have to look at the political, economic, sociology, technological, legal, and the environmental factors that affect our organization and also our business. We have to cooperate. We have to form cooperatives for our organizations, for our businesses to scale up. We have to reach out to the media. We have to make sure that the media knows what we are doing. We have to tell the story to the world. If we don't tell the story to the world, no one will know what we are doing. We have to create platforms. When we get back to our places, we have to teach or tell what we've learned to different organizations, reach out to schools. Let's inspire others, because as a leader, we need to inspire others to do more. We have to implement what we've learned here. We've learned so much. We've seen how the US, I'm an agriculture entrepreneur. I've learned so much about the agri-food system in the US. And back home, there's so much that we have to implement. There's so much that is mechanized here, automated. We are still using the traditional way of farming. There's so much that we've learned here. And then we have to use our networks from various countries. I'm sure I've interacted with about maybe 30% of the audience here. And I believe before the end of this Congress, I'll be able to get to about 70%. We are leaders of today and not tomorrow. The future is now. We don't have to think about, the future is not far from us. We are the change makers. We have to change the world now. We can influence what is happening. Like Carrie yesterday mentioned about the board members, like you are young to be a board member. I've seen in my country that old people are put in the boards, and the young people like us are left out. We've got a reserve of a lot of knowledge, and we have to build our economies. We are the future. We are the leaders of today. Thank you.
The button on the microphone, just press, yeah. There's no green light? Yeah, on the microphone? Yeah, can you press that again? There should be a green light that goes on.
Hello. Can you hear me now? Yeah, so I'm sure you guys heard my introduction. So I was in a room with phenomenal leaders from different countries, Tonga, Dominica, Turkey, India, and Sri Lanka. And we had very robust conversations about the challenges that each of us face as entrepreneurs, as civic leaders, and developers have. And we found that we've got so many similar challenges, one of which being constraints when it comes to budgets and funding that is directed to our people. There really is a disconnect in connecting the people to the needs, and connecting the people to the information, to the data, the software, and the human capital that is already existing in each of our countries. And we see that there's an exodus of skills that is leaving our countries due to the ecosystem not being conducive for leaders. So when we looked at that, we looked at it holistically and how we can also come up with solutions. So some of the opportunities that we found is that within the room, we had people that were experts in their various fields, so we don't need to reinvent the wheel. When we're going home, we already know who we've met and what we can leverage on. Secondly, we had the honor of being placed across the US, where we've seen how they've mastered their systems and how they've ensured that they heavily invest in their entrepreneurs. And we can then take those systems that we've learned and localize it to be able to meet the needs of our people and to be able to build our various continents. So some of the next steps that we devised, we're working on putting a document together of all the ideas that we have and all the best practice that we've seen operating in the various areas that we're in. We also started to see a bit of collaboration where, you know, we had somebody from Dominica who's working to change the narrative in a country where the history of a people does not come from her. And, you know, you've got somebody who's a great storyteller and they're already using digital systems to be able to reach the wide masses in their countries. So apart from that, we noted that it's very important to make sure that when we go back to each of our countries, we engage with our embassies, because they know that a lot of us are here. They're waiting to hear what we've learned and how we can also implement the things that we've learned. Lastly, of course, it's very important not to work in isolation and in silos. Collaboration is important, and there's strength in numbers. Thank you.
Good morning, amazing people. I'm here on behalf of Ceylon E Group. I'm Yumna Iftikhar from Pakistan and placed with University of Oklahoma. Yes, OU rocks. I have a dream that there exist no problems like choosing the right teams or building the right teams and raising capital. The success of any intervention or an initiative depends on the team that executes it. And that's where we struggle as builders or as ecosystem developers. The opportunities are to create more and more opportunities for young people to come on board and sustain the right people who are already in your teams with rewards and certain recognition systems in place. The action points back in our countries would be to offer internships to bring the potential people or the competent people on board, and offer equity or ownership in your company to the existing employees. That's what Piyush Patel also said in one of the sessions back in Oklahoma University. And collaboration for shared resources in teams, and look for amazing people like you around to take a team. I mean, why not? Secondly, raising capital. One of the major reasons for failure or breakdown of any startup or business. Opportunities are to start donor-funded projects or apply for them, recommendation for improvements on policy level, engagement with society, projection and awareness among the masses of the work that you already are doing on social media and other resources. Next steps would be to develop sound action plans and develop certain key performance indicators, design interventions in existing systems, that's how we bring change, and involve media, share funding opportunities, and connect each other wherever possible. Last but not the least, ask and reach out. That's what we don't usually do. Now, to break the status quo, I would like to invite Penny from our group to take it further. Thank you everyone, especially Ilani and Kathy for making it possible. Thank you all my fellows.
Good morning everyone. My name is Benislis Thushan and I'm from Sri Lanka. And I was placed with the World Learning and I was in Philadelphia, so go Phillies. So I'll just expand on two more problems, which is the problem of the status quo and lastly, the problem with sustaining the interest of the communities in which we work with. So the problem with the status quo is that most of us from every part of this world can identify the conventionalism is a problem. But the biggest opportunity we have is when there is conventionalism, when there's inertia to move forward, how do we challenge it? One way to do it is to pilot something, showcase to them that it is possible, and showcase it to them that we can do it, mainstream it, and scale it up in a way possible. And also the next steps would be, and this room is a representation of the amazing potentials, how we can tap into the collective wisdom to counter with the bureaucracy and the status quo in each of our countries. And lastly, the problem is how do we sustain the interest of our community? I was really struck by one of the quotes one of the speakers said yesterday, nothing for us without us. And there's no intervention that's worth going into the community if it doesn't prioritize the sustenance of the particular intervention. So how do we tackle, what are the opportunities in tackling the challenges, right? How do we give ownership to the opportunity, ownership for those opportunities to the communities? How do we make them a part of it, right? How do we help them reclaim the narratives and tell their own stories? And what are our next steps? How do we, yes, we are leaders, but also how do we become healers in our community? Go to the community, put ourselves down from the pedestal and say, here, we are with you. You are the experts, we want to work with you, let's work together. And help us make informed decisions. Thank you very much, and it's such an honor to be here, and I wish you, all of you, for your next steps ahead, and thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, vanakkam, ayubowan, good morning. I really don't know how to follow all the Asians that have just blown the stage already. So I'm going to try. I mean, I'm repping South Africa, Slovakia, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, so shout out to my table there. And yes, round of applause. And special round of applause to Sudeep, who really did an amazing presentation. He's going to put it on the group so all of y'all can look through it, so it's not like 1 hour wasted of our life. Well done, Sudeep. So essentially, when we sat down and we were looking at our challenges, obviously a plethora of challenges came up. I mean, we could complain on and on about so many things wrong with our systems. I mean, from infrastructure to resource mobilization to prioritization of issues, all of how all these things are locally implemented, we have a lot of issues. But you know what's the driving force behind those issues? The right capable people. And we have been honored here to be able to visit USA and learn from World Learning. Shout out to World Learning as well for getting us all on board. But yeah, we've had to learn from them. But you know who else is missing? The millions of other leaders on the ground right now, and I'm sure who we work with, who are not getting the same sort of skills development, the same sort of soft skills, the same sort of professional development that they need to grow. And to sort of go on to the next steps before I go into opportunities that are kind of overlapping, we would like to, I think, start off with having first a critical introspection, unlearning our own biases and our own prejudices, because we understand as human rights frontline defenders, economic empowered, like, you know, amazing business owners here, we are the ones creating the path. So if we are creating the path, we need to make sure that we are not implementing our own biases, our own prejudices on certain matters. So that deep introspection is very important, and I think she'll tell you, my South African comrade could tell you a bit more on that. We also want to create more transparent and inclusive, safe support systems. To understand our issues, we'll do a need assessment, but to be able to actually root out those issues and understand them and help those particularly marginalized and vulnerable communities, we need safe support systems and support spaces where we can actually talk about these issues plaguing our everyday lives. One of our other things would be to empower our team, that is through soft skills and professional development, not just things of vocational training, but critical thinking of those kind of very important things that we need to learn as we move forward, so we don't blindly, as he so eloquently put it, be the sheep, but rather lions. Obviously, in the other ways, one of our last steps would be to policy changes within our organizations in a way we can see sustainably go through. Maybe even more accessible ramps for persons of differently abled communities. Maybe even so gender-neutral bathrooms. So those are the kind of things we can do within our own organizations and within our own safe spaces, and I hope we can implement that and maybe take further what we've learned at World Learning. Thank you.
Just 1 billion, 2 billion. So I'm going to start with the next steps first, and then move to opportunities. Yes. We've heard the problems so many times. I want to thank the State Department. I want to thank my Jefferson group. We're in Jefferson room. I want to thank Legacy International for having us here. I want to thank the DC Fellows and the Austin, Texas Fellows. I want to thank myself. For being here. and taking the time and coming. So the next steps that we discussed in our group were very specific and directly to the point that we were trying to reach. The first one is try specific point of collaboration, which Carrie Rich yesterday talked about in her book and tried with the billionaire that she worked with. That she made the book her hook, as we call it in marketing, in order for her to start the partnerships with him. So that's a very good point, and if you didn't catch anything from yesterday, that was the bigger point. That was the biggest point that you can learn from yesterday's sessions, I think. It was a very eye-opening, and you see how much it can push forward your organization and your project. Search for relevant funding and search for multiple organizations that are in the book or outside the book, for example, UNDP. Write proposals for these projects you will do. And do follow-up projects for your project with the communities you will affect and the communities you will work on to see how your project is developing. And I hope your projects all move forward and grow and reach multiple people in the future. In the opportunities, we'd like to talk about inclusion, self-worth, and networking. Self-worth will be the last because you will like it. So, in inclusion, we thought that educating your community in each area you work in and any field you are working on is very important to reach the mindset you are looking for in your community. Because we believe that that mindset is the root and the seed you will work on to build that community you're looking for. So, for example, my project is on financial literacy and financial economic empowerment with the youth of rural areas. So, I will personally provide lessons and games that they can learn from to understand how they can manage their money, because it's such a big problem in all our countries, I think. And we need to do something the education and the normal education is not doing. In terms of networking, please use network of the network. All your networks have other networks that you can work with and build your project with. Try to include high influential, as we talked about, in your projects so they can push forward your project and bring in more funding that we are all looking for. It's like an influential marketing. So he's a big influential person. He will definitely help you. In self-worth, I was placed in an organization called MLF in Austin, Texas. I was in charge with SEO and website reshaping. I found out that there was a big lack of understanding of how simple things work, and I am sure that you are all experienced something that is great, and you found out that you have so much expertise and so much knowledge that you always underestimate yourself. And with this experience, you found out that you are worth a lot. For example, my friend from our group, Yaqub, he reshaped the whole business model of the company. So I want you please to clap for him. And I want you all to please, if you found out that this opportunity gave you more self-worth, please stand up and clap yourself as much as you feel self-worth and you feel that you know how much you are worth. Please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I believe we have one more speaker, and if I have missed anyone who is planning to speak, now's the time to tell me. We have two more speakers, so excellent. Please come to the stage.
Hey. So, hi, good morning, everyone. This is Abhijit from India, and I was placed with OU. Go Thunders! Thank you, Elani Kathi, for bringing us all here and taking care of us all this time. I'm representing Team 1. That's me, Abhijit from India, Laura from Mexico, Mira from Hungary, Redwan from Algeria, and Sukita from Nepal. We had a very interesting discussion around leaders, and we spread that into internal issues that we face, teams, and external. What I did, I had a lot of points written this morning, but listening to all of you, I thought, I'm a poet. And I just wrote a poem right there, listening all of you speak. And I've titled that as an ode to PFP leaders. We are leaders burning the midnight oil. We are leaders who struggle with two families at work and home. We are mothers, wives, sisters who do more work than one can imagine. We are leaders constantly fighting the battles in our mind. We face cultural differences, ageism, sexism at work, and struggle to speak bold ideas. We fight for resources, finding mentors to guide us. We are leaders asking for help. But we still find ways to make this better. We as leaders need to find answers. What kind of leader are you? Reflect deep inside, find a place to expand our mind, practice positive affirmation, and build morale. We as leaders are here to collaborate, find our tribe. We are here to find shoulders of giants to stand on. And the last piece, and thank you, Rita, for doing this, I'm going to ask you all to participate with me. When I say break, just take a deep breath. When I say it, not right now. And when I say action, just do a good high five to your neighbor, okay? So I'm gonna start, and remember, break, take a breath, and action is when you do a high five. Not right now, not right now. As leaders, we don't wait for anyone. We will wake up, put on a brave face each day, and conquer. We will practice self-awareness, improve our leadership. As leaders, we will de-learn, learn, and relearn. We will uplift people, enable leadership through participative action. As leaders, we will take a break and take action. And I want to close this, inspired by my friend here's quoting Snoop Dogg. Last but not the least, I want to thank me. I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all of this hard work. I want to thank me for having no days off. I want to thank me for never quitting. I want to thank me for always being a giver and trying to give more than I can receive. I want to thank me for just being me at all times. Snoop Dogg.
I would like to thank all of our speakers this morning. If you would please join me in a very warm round of applause for everyone who spoke. Bravo. Thank you very much. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for ending on a great note. Thanks for your contribution. Thank you again. It was tremendous to hear the collective wisdom of the room, and we appreciate all of you who contributed to the discussions. We would like to invite you to enjoy some refreshments out in the lobby. The next session will be our first presentation of the Alumni Impact Awards. You will have an opportunity to hear from the awardees themselves about the connections that they made between their fellowship experience and what they did afterwards. So we look forward to seeing you back here at 11.